Hey, Barnett here with you. Glad that you could be with me here on the Oasis. And as always, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this broadcast. Another beautiful day here in upstate New York, but you hear that all the time. But I'm telling the truth. It really is a beautiful day. Today I want to deal with the question, why do I feel so tired? Or why am I so fatigued? And the answer to that is, well, it could be a little bit more complex than what I'm going to give you today. But to keep it simple, there's two reasons you feel fatigued. Number one, there's a real fatigue. And number two, there's a feeling of fatigue that is most often associated with, and often, not going to say always, but so frequently occurs with depression. You know, there's many people who are depressed and they don't know it. So they just don't. And I'm going to just deal with one aspect of depression. We could talk about anger, and we could talk about, why you snap at people or other things. But I just want to deal with fatigue. Well, first of all, let's deal with real fatigue. Why am I tired? Well, if you've ever put in a really hard day's work, and I know people, for instance, who work like construction, right? And they'll put in a hard day's work. Then they go to the gym, or vice versa. And then there may be some other things they have to do because, life demands that we have these obligations and so on. And when they go to bed, when you go to bed, when I go to bed, and I'm speaking for myself, when I've put a lot of energy into a day, it's a really great feeling to just get in that bed and know that, hey, I'm going to have a good night's sleep because I put out a lot of energy today at work, doing my work and so on. Also, with real fatigue, invariably you're going to wake up feeling refreshed. I know that I want to say always do. Okay, well, that would be stretching it, but I do. When I get a good night's sleep, which most nights, thankfully, I do, when I get up in the morning, I'm good to go. No matter how tired I was when I went to bed, one night's sleep, adequate amount of sleep, I get up and I'm refreshed. So the real fatigue was relieved by God's invention, God's creation of sleep, of rest. The other is the feeling of fatigue when and people who are suffering from depression, as some of you are, you can't really figure out, why am I just always feel so tired. I mean, I've known and read of people who have difficulty. The feeling of fatigue is so bad they have a hard time lighting the stove, pulling pots and pans out to cook, or just doing simple things that ordinarily this wouldn't take much energy at all. Well, that is a feeling of fatigue. It's not real fatigue. Once again, real fatigue is you just ran a marathon, 26.3 miles, and you're gassed at the end of that race, especially if you run it hard. But 26.3 miles is long by anybody's definition, no matter how fast you ran. So you're going to be tired. That's real fatigue. Again, it's a simple concept. Doesn't take too much. Doesn't take much more than just common sense to realize that you've put in a lot of energy to a day. In a day you've done this and that and the other thing, and yard work and whatever. And again, you look forward to going to bed. You look forward to laying on the couch and taking your rest. But the feeling of fatigue is one of the major symptoms of depression. So, since real fatigue is pretty obvious and simple and almost self-explanatory, when you've put out a lot of energy and you've used your body, for me it's a combination of using my body and my brain. I use my brain more than I do my body, but I use both. I look forward to that time when I'm slipping in under the covers and I'll have an hour, maybe an hour and a half of what I call a kind of a pre-sleep routine that I have. And by the time I shut my eyes, I'm feeling good. When I get up in the morning, I'm feeling great. But, and you know that I share these videos with you out of a lot of experience, not just reading books. But during periods where I was down, downcast, discouraged, or depressed, it seemed that no matter how much rest I took, the feeling of fatigue never left. It's a kind of phenomenon that's not, the fatigue, in other words, is not coming from the body because you've used it yesterday all day long, or even today. It's a feeling that's produced chemically in the brain, communicated to the body, and just constantly feel tired. And again, just to keep this simple, not to make it too complicated, the answer to why you feel tired, when you know that you haven't really put out that much physical energy or mental energy. Energy is energy. You use it up, it's got to be replenished, and that's done once again by, well, not only sleep, but a proper diet and exercise and stuff like that, but mostly by sleep. And let me say this, when you're truly fatigued, you've done a lot of work, real work. The sleep, you look forward to going to sleep, as I've already mentioned. And when you get up, you're refreshed. The body is restored. It's rejuvenated. But for those of you who suffer from depression, which can also include discouragement and dismay and just a feeling of life's not worth living, what you're dealing with is a feeling of fatigue that's produced here. It's psychological, but that doesn't mean it's not affecting the body. It is. There's signals being sent to the body from the brain, whatever you're going through. And when it's protracted, you've been depressed like for weeks, months, or years, you always have this feeling of fatigue. And no matter how much you lay around, no matter how much you get, quote, rest, no matter how much you sleep, it's never quite enough. The feeling of fatigue just doesn't leave you. So, keeping it simple once again, you put out a lot of energy, and I've always told people that when you're truly tired, I mean, again, from putting out a lot of energy at your job, with the family, with events and responsibilities, you will feel refreshed after you sleep, after you rest. What I always tell people is that there is nothing you can really do to compensate for rest once you're truly, truly tired, right? On the other hand, when you just feel fatigued all the time and you can't even pinpoint and if why you feel fatigued, and if you're one of those people that you're having to make a colossal, almost heroic effort to do the least little things that maybe even a month ago, or you remember years ago, that this would never make me tired, but now I feel tired all the time. Well, that's ordinarily, again, related to depression. All right, so let's concentrate on that. How do you conquer it? Well, the same principles that we've been accenting on this channel. You have to get up and move. You say, I'm so tired, I can't take a step. I can't even go for a walk. That's when you must give a command to your muscles to get up, get moving, get doing things. Now, I'm speaking from my own experience, but when I have a feeling of fatigue, when I know I really shouldn't be as tired as I feel, and the key word, the operative word, the salient word is feel fatigue, I immediately start to feel better once I'm moving. It could be as simple as just taking a shower and brushing my teeth. I'm already starting to feel better because I'm moving my muscles. If you neglect to take those steps, that feeling of fatigue will not be removed. So, boils down to this. Let's say in your case, you've been diagnosed with depression, or you just know intuitively that I'm just down. I'm just depressed. Well, you're going to have to make this effort. This is where I accent over and over again on this broadcast. The simplicity of an answer is not equal to the ease that's required in putting forth that effort to overcome, in this case, a feeling of fatigue. So once again, we use the muscles. And even though in your head, you're saying, I can't take a walk. I'm always tired. It's a guarantee if I'll use the word force, you make yourself get up and take that walk, or you make yourself get up and do that housework, or go to work, or whatever it may be, you're going to notice that that feeling of fatigue begins to dissipate. An exception to that would be if there's some type of real chronic, organic issue. Well, that's not going to solve it. But once again, that's got to be resolved by a medical doctor, where you find out you have anemia, or you have something else going on in your body. But if we rule that out, we're back to the nervous system again. And it's really incredible how a feeling of fatigue that comes from a depression can make you feel so tired. But in reality, if you just think about it and reason yourself through it, and just reason through, you can see that there's no reason I should feel fatigued. No reason I should feel so awfully tired all the time. The supreme effort that it takes to go forward and go for that walk, or go to the gym, or ride your bicycle, or do some exercises, or again, just some simple things like your duties around the house or whatever. It's just amazing how that feeling of fatigue will start to dissipate and disappear. But I want to accent once again the fact that the answer is simple does not mean that it's easy to do. And especially in cases of depression, unlike anxiety, when you see people who are anxious, they're always fidgeting, they're always moving, they don't seem not only to lack energy, they just seem to have too much energy, right? Then you have lots of just talking all the time and moving and fidgeting. We see this in kids a lot, right? They're just so much energy, they're always moving. But to make the supreme effort to get up and take that walk, do that exercise, whatever it may be, is the solution. As simple as that advice, which does work, by the way, as simple as that advice is, it's simply not easy to do. If you do it, and if you have a resolute will that you're not going to let a feeling of fatigue keep you back from life, you're going to be going a long way to conquering the depression that is producing these feelings. And I keep accenting that word. A feeling of fatigue is not the same as a real fatigue. So it's a simple concept. You do a lot of physical work and brain work and both, which is my case. I use my brain, I use my body. I go to bed tired. Wake up in the morning, I feel great. But during periods of depression, no matter how much you lay around, it doesn't get better. So this is where the self-help, right, and the help that we get from Christ comes in. It has to be a resolute will that says, I'm not going to allow this to dominate. I'm not going to allow this depressive mood to continue. I'm going to go up or get out, take that walk, go to the gym, etc., and so on, the bicycle, simple things of moving the muscles and commanding them to move. But what is happening is that the brain is sending a signal to the muscles saying, wow, we're really tired. But at the same time, you also know that you shouldn't be tired. And the amount of effort that it takes is a real task. Somebody wrote in from one of the broadcasts the proverbial expression that it's easier said than done. And that is a real truth. It is easier for me to say, hey, do this, than it is for you to actually do it. But you're talking to someone who has had the same experiences that you have had. And that's the truth. Been at this for a long, long time. And the resoluteness of the will that says, okay, I feel fatigued, and you go out and you take that walk, and the next day you get up and you still feel fatigued. Well, we're not going to delve into all these causes, psychological causes, or a real thing that's happened, like some grief or whatever has caused you to be depressed. Putting that aside, you get up and you do it. And this is where the challenge comes in. And it always will. On this broadcast, it always will. Look, I do a lot of reading, and there's all types of, proposed solutions. And I guess maybe some of them do work, but it really gets down to some basic things in life. Get up, take the walk. Get up, do the housework. Both, whatever. You got to move your muscles. You got to get yourself moving. It doesn't have to be, again, heroic. You don't have to go out and conquer and make a world record in some area of your life. You just have to get up and just start moving. And you got to keep doing it again and again. You may fail at the first, second, third, fourth, fifth try, but you got to keep on doing it. And then eventually, you'll start to see that you can conquer this. You can do this if you will move your muscles. So this, again, is a very simple explanation of the difference between real fatigue, when you have exhausted the resources of the muscles of the brain or both, and you're really tired, truly tired. You're going to find, as many of you know already, that it alleviated your fatigue. Get up, got a good night's rest, and you're ready to go at it. Depression, a bit different. Sometimes no matter how much you lay around, not only will you not remove the fatigue, you actually feel worse. So that's my exhortation to you today, and my explanation in a very, very simple terms, is that real fatigue is common sense. Go rest, you're going to feel better. Depressive type of fatigue, no matter how much you lay around, you're not going to feel better. And in reality, in many cases, you're going to feel worse and worse and worse. So get up, go take the walk, do it now. If it's not the right time because you're watching the broadcast and it's just not a good time, do it at the first opportunity. Go out and take that walk. Go out and ride that bike. Go out and do the housework, or go to your job, whatever it may be. And you'll find that the depressive mood will start to lift, and you're going to feel energized. Again, simple explanation to a subject that can be a bit more complex than what I've just given you, but it works. It really works. So let me pray for you today who have the feeling of fatigue and you're asking, why am I always so tired? Get up, move your muscles, and you're going to find that things are going to change for the better for you. So let me pray for you today. Father, I pray for my friends as always, and I ask you to give them the strength to be able to get up, take that walk, ride that bike, do the housework, all of the above, whatever it is, so that they can remove the feeling of fatigue and start to learn that this feeling can be overcome with the resoluteness of the will and certainly by your grace. I pray for my friends today that they will be able to conquer, be victorious. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so that's it for today. These are simple instructions, but I always remind you, no matter how simple they are, they're not that easy to do, but you got to do the work in order to truly be free. All right, weather's going to hold up, I think, this week, so I should be with you here again tomorrow. And as always, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, review the past videos that I've done. If you're new, just go back, and there's a lot of teaching in these last 2.5 years, so can't cover it all in one little video. Get up and do the work, and you're going to be okay. If you want to be with us, small group here, just subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll be good to go. Weather holds up, I'll be with you here again tomorrow. All right, that's it for today. As always, I ask God to help you and strengthen you, and no matter what, keep your faith strong, stay positive, as they say, do the hard work, but always let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. God bless. Lord willing, I'll see you here again tomorrow on the Oasis.